So, how do you work on your recurve technique in the best way? This is quite a wide topic, but I think it's a really important one to touch on because if you're like me or like Mike, so thank you, Mike, for joining me again today for this.
No problem. Looking forward to it.
I think it'll be good because pretty much everyone has run into this problem where maybe you're very accurate at seeing what you need to work on. For example, you've taken a video and been like, okay, I need to work on my release. I need to improve my alignment. But how do I do all these things? So we had a question that came in, and the question said, if I need to change many things in my style, where should I
Mhm.
start from? And this is a great point because I think it's pretty rare that someone will be like, I'm just going to work on this, or this is like the only thing. And many things in your technique have a prerequisite, if you like, of what you need to do beforehand. So I kind of want
Yep.
to start this off with a general kind of recommendation, and then I think we can bounce back and forth a little bit.
Mhm.
But I'd like to start with, I always say to work from the ground up for people when they're working on their technique. So if I'm working with a new archer, for example, and they want to improve their release, like a lot of people do, or they want to improve their bow shoulder and their alignment, that's great, but it's going to be hard to improve their release if their alignment is off. And it's going to be hard to improve their bow
Yeah.
shoulder if they're leaning back from the target loads. So,
Yeah.
for example, if you go on my website, onlinearcheryacademy.com, there's a technique section, and you can see in the technique section, I broke it down stance and posture, set position, and then it goes through the whole thing. So, I always say to people to work from the ground up. So, check your stance and posture. Is everything there that we need to then work on the set position? If it is, that's great. Set position. Then if you look at the set position, is everything there that we need to then help you raise and open the bow and get into alignment? And often this is not the case because, for example, if you're leaning back at the set position, then you're gonna come up, and then maybe you can't rotate properly. So there's a
Yep.
lot of things that come into play. So always work through your shot in that order, and preferably having someone to check that with you to say, is there like a prerequisite thing? So what's your kind of thoughts on that, Mike, and what's your kind of approach with that as well?
Yeah, I think everything you've said there is really solid. And sometimes, so yes, like you said, we might see that they might see the problem as being their release, but sometimes when we work and we go through everything, by the time we've corrected the stance, corrected the posture, got them in line, oh, now the release is no longer a problem. So sometimes you can work on something without ever actually sort of thinking about it or talking about it, because often with archery techniques, things are a reaction rather than an action. So it's not that you're making it happen, it's because it's happening because of something else. So I think your system is yeah, that's definitely the best way to go.
To kind of check through. And quickly, if you're enjoying this video, you're going to love the three things I want to mention to you right now. So first of all, if you haven't already, you need to check out onlinearcheryacademy.com, which is my free website where you can go, and there's basically technique guides, training guides, equipment guides, how to tune your bow, loads of stuff on there completely free. You can also put your email address in to get my free weekly newsletter. Over 8,000 archers worldwide read this, where I send tips that you can't get anywhere else. Maybe equipment tips, mental tips, training tips, stuff about competitions, everything in there. Also, if you haven't already checked out my Online Archery Academy video courses, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? You need to check them out. You can go to onlinearcheryacademy.com, click explore the courses, or you can go directly to courses.onlinearcheryacademy.com. There is currently, and I say currently, a beginner's course here that you can see, an advanced recurve technique course as well that you should check out. And eventually, very soon, there's going to be a tuning course as well. So if you haven't checked those out already, you can go there and have a look there. There's sections where you can basically see every single thing that I cover, which is a lot. There's a lot covered. This is the most comprehensive course on recurve technique in the world. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen any course that comes anywhere near this in terms of the detail that I go through every single stage of the shot, of your technique, how to troubleshoot those areas as well, how to train them, and I offer a money back guarantee with that as well. Finally, the last thing I want to mention, if you haven't already, go to members.onlinearcheryacademy.com, or you can go to onlinearcheryacademy.com and click become a member. And there you can join my membership, which is just £3.99 a month, to basically get exclusive access to me and loads of equipment advice, technique advice, free videos, Q&As, that kind of thing. So after this video, I'm going to record some more information in here on Q&As that people have sent in, technique things that maybe aren't as suitable for YouTube because they're just not going to get the views, that sort of stuff. This insider access is in the community, and you can see all organized in a really nice way. You also get my newsletter archive of all of those previous newsletters that I mentioned. You can access in here as well. So there's loads of stuff. Check it out. And now back to the video. I think also the other thing when you're working on different things in your style, or even if you're not working on anything, you're just trying to keep everything the same for middle of competition season, is myself included, that it's very easy to get to the point where you're like, I've worked on that. I've done that. I'm going to move on to something else. I've even done this before. I worked so hard to get my draw elbow back around into line one winter season. Had my best indoor season ever. Great result in Vegas. Won the flights division.
Awesome.
Shot a really nice indoor season. And I'm like, I've done that. That's great now. Then I migrated to outdoors, where it's harder because of the angle to keep that line. And my 3 to 4 months of incredible work and getting that elbow line, I kind of just treated it as I've done that. And it just got worse. And the outdoor season wasn't that great. It wasn't my best outdoor season. And it could have been brilliant if I'd reinforced those basics that I'd done through the winter season. And I think you've seen this a lot by the look on your face as well, right?
Yeah, it's sometimes it's whenever you introduce a change into a different environment, and then or into a specific one like indoors, and then you go and change it, you can so often regress. You need to reaffirm this. Like it's always best if you can, throughout the indoor season, if you can mix in a little bit of outdoor shooting. Now I know it's very difficult if you've only got one bow and that bow is set up with aluminium arrows. You can't just run out on a sunny Sunday afternoon and shoot for an hour outside. But those of you who shoot the same arrow the whole year round, or if you're lucky enough to have two bows, practicing new technique in different environments at different distances, they all help just consolidate that technique and help you progress and keep that progression. Because it's so easy when you move on to thinking about a new focus point of your technique, and then you also change the environment. It's so easy for that past one to regress, and then we get caught in this loop of going round and round. You really do, because we do want to sort of work on it, finish it, tick it, and move on, but you've got to put the work in to consolidate it first.
Yeah, exactly. And this kind of goes on nicely to a practice that I like to do, and I always recommend to the archers that I coach as well, which is so I've seen this with top archers as well in Korea. I was lucky enough to shoot at the Hyundai Steel company team range.
Awesome.
And there was one archer in particular, I can't remember his name, but basically he'd won the junior world championships, and he was now, I think he'd just won Nîmes as well.
Awesome.
With crazy shooting. And one of the reasons I loved his technique so much is he was one of the most stable in the whole posture and core, basically unmoving. It was just a complete column of unmoving, great posture. And he'd come in to full draw, shoot, and just super snappy release, super stable. And I always thought that was like his strength, that was just his thing, didn't need to work on it and that kind of thing. Yeah. And he happened to be there at that day that I was shooting. And I saw him spend 3.5 hours at close range blank bail, shooting A, with his eyes closed, B, then with his eyes open but on a balance board thing.
Okay.
And then C, with his feet together to make the balancing harder. And this is someone that you would look at and think, you're shooting 598 on a feater 18 and 1382 on an outdoor feater, and you look the most stable of anyone I've ever seen. And he was doing like 3 hours of like what most people would consider boring practice of absolute fundamentals that you shouldn't have to do. Yeah. And it was eye-opening, because it was just like, he is nailing the fundamentals, because he knows that if he deviates from that, he's going to lose the feeling in his whole technique.